Kroger presents Signing Day Spotlight, a video series profiling some of the top players in Georgia's 2021 recruiting class. And now, here are your hosts, DawgNation's Jeff Sentell and former UGA great Terrence Edwards.
Yes, DawgNation. We're talking about wide receivers. Terrence Edwards of TE Wide Receiver Academy. Terrence, what's the proper vernacular for that? Is it, if we're talking about that in broadcasting speak, is it TEWR Academy? Is it TWR Academy? What do we need to do? How do we need to do it right there?
You know, people thought it was tight end wide receiver, but it's just my initials, Terrence Edwards Wide Receiver Academy. So it just broke down into short, TEWR Academy. So Terrence Edwards Wide Receiver Academy.
Terrence Edwards Wide Receiver Academy. Man, it might get you some more business if people thought it was TEWR. Have every tight end. I know you got great tight ends coming. And speaking of another wide receiver that's great, we got him in the crosshairs right now. This is Jackson Meeks. Now, the quick little story on this guy is, folks, he was from a big program at Central Phoenix City. He was behind some dudes. I think Justin Ross came out of there. A lot of guys, EJ Mitchell, I think, came out of there. There's a lot of guys that have came out of Central Phoenix. He had to wait his time. He had a serious knee injury his sophomore year. He had to work himself back his junior year, only played about 2 or 3 games his junior year. And then senior year, he explodes. He lights up Hoover High School, one of the best programs in the country, especially the Southeast. And everybody starts seeing a little bit of his game. Georgia offers. He quickly commits, coming out of a Auburn, Central Phoenix type Columbus area right there. And Terrence, I mean, to me, I think that I've got a coverage in mind that I think Jackson Meeks is a weapon you deploy to try to beat that coverage. Where do you see him excelling early at the University of Georgia?
I think he's going to be a slot receiver. I think he's going to go in and contribute. Probably out there, he's probably going to go, I would say, work shirt. Like you say, he's had some injuries that he's has to overcome. And I think a guy like him, get into the strength and conditioning program, being able to acclimate himself to the college game. I see him playing the same role that Kearis Jackson is playing right now. I love this kid a lot. He's not a blazer. He's not a guy that's going to be able to take the top off. But like you said earlier, he comes from that, the wide receiver school over there in Alabama, feed the ceiling. I mean, you had Justin Ross, you had EJ Williams, both at Clemson right now. So whatever they're doing over there at that school, they're producing wide receiver on a high level. And I have to assume they understand the passing game. They mean the receivers there, and they're being coached very well. So I can see him as a guy that is a 50-50 catch. He doesn't separate as much I would like for him to see, but he catches everything that's in his vicinity. He's a guy that don't need much separation to make tough catches. And that's why I think he would be a slot receiver to be able to work the middle and sit down in zones, run through man, and he's going to be able to make these tough catches because he is a big body kid.
Looks like Georgia went to, and maybe they got the slot guys like Ladd McConkey and, slight guys like Arian Smith in the last class. And now they're getting guys with some of that armor around them. It seems like they went for a certain body type of athlete here in the 2021 signing class. Do you see that?
They did actually go and got 2 bigger. Both guys I think will probably play in their career 200 to 210. Jordan Meeks is a nice put together kid. I actually love him as a football player. If we can just his, I'm gonna call it bad luck with his injuries right now. So if he could come to Georgia and stay injury free, I think he's gonna have a real productive career at Georgia.
Terrence, everybody finds these GIFs or these memes on the internet. Give me that one play you saw on Jackson Meeks' tape that made you go, that made you just stop and let you rewind that thing a little bit. Was there one play you saw out of Jackson Meeks that really you were a big fan of, and maybe his stock went up in your book when you saw that?
It's not one play, it's one game. And it's the Hoover game that you mentioned earlier. I mean, we all know what Hoover represents over there in Alabama. They have produced a lot of top athletes and have a really great program. And he just destroyed them. So that put him on the map for me. I was like, oh, who is this kid? If you could go do what he did against Hoover, the same high school that George Pickett's come from, you could play. And because they produce high-level D1 talent. So if he could produce against Hoover, he could come in the SEC and produce as well.
Listen to Terrence Edwards talk about wide receivers. I'm going to come up with another one of these on the fly. It's kind of like Paula Dean. Listen to Paula Dean talking about frying some chicken or putting some butter in some pound cake. When you listen to Terrence talk about wide receivers, you know he knows what he's talking about. He mentioned Central Phoenix City. Central Phoenix City's head coach is Patrick Nix, a guy that played in the SEC. They know about the throw game. Patrick Nix was an offensive coordinator at Miami, at Georgia Tech. So you obviously know Jackson Meeks has been around some high-level football and some high-level training during his time with the Red Devils. He's an early enrollee, just like everybody, almost 16 early enrollees in this class. We just put Jackson Meeks out of Central Phoenix City High School in Alabama between the crosshairs. Terrence Edwards Wide Receiver Academy gives him very high marks. Catch us again on our next signing day special on DawgNation.com.
Thanks for joining us. For more info on UGA recruiting, check out DawgNation.com. And a special thanks to our sponsor, Kroger, fresh for everyone.